Here we are, watching the sunrise over Lago de Atitlan, a spectacular lake in Guatemala's western highlands. We are perched on a mountain across the lake from active volcanoes, cozily cocooned in our sleeping bags, sipping hot chocolate and watching the transition from night to day. We left Guatemala's second largest city, Quetzaltenango, known to the locals as Xela, 3 days ago. We've since hiked 35 kilometers through dense bush and cloud forests, across rivers, and through farmers' fields, far from the nation's well-known tourist hubs. There are 18 of us altogether, 15 participants and 3 guides from Quetzatlrekkers, an all-volunteer-run trekking organization with the slogan, "Hike Mountains, Help Kids." Quetzatlrekkers is the only organization of its type in Guatemala, and arguably in the world. Its mission is simple: to use trek profits to directly fund EDELAC, a school that aims to get children off the streets of Xela and into the education system. Quetzatlrekkers provides the opportunity for travelers to explore villages and wilderness areas that are only accessible by foot. Easily distracted by the beauty of the trek, it is important to remind ourselves that we are part of something much bigger.
Bien, soy Guadalupe Pos, soy el director general de esta organización. Iniciamos en la calle.
We started in the streets. We started providing education to children that we found in the parks and in the markets of Quetzaltenango. Later, we had the idea of making something bigger. We didn't have the money or the resources, but what we didn't lack was the motivation and willingness to help the children.
Ahora, fines de semana en el campo porque es parte de mi vida.
As a child, I worked the land, and I still do it on the weekends because it is a part of my life. That's why I know and am aware of the limitations a child has. When I saw children in the park or in the market without opportunities, it was easy for me to relate to them. That motivated this project, to benefit so many children who don't have the opportunity to go to school to develop and meet their basic needs. I was fortunate enough to go to college because I got a scholarship. If I hadn't had that opportunity, my life would have been different. I would have stayed working the land like my father and many others in my family. I am aware that if we don't help the children, they are going to stay in the streets. They are going to end up working in the streets, and that is why I am very confident that by helping these children, we are changing their lives.
Una oportunidad, eso cambia el círculo de vida de estos chicos.
Quetzatlrekkers trata de ayudar.
Quetzatlrekkers' goal is to help children and teenagers have a better future.
El niño adolescente tenga un buen futuro.
We know that if we want to have a brighter future,
Tenemos
our literacy education has to be very good.
tenemos que tener una educación académica.
We can only grow through good education.
I think it's the difference between a kid just, being on the street and selling chicles, and rather than doing that, they have the chance to get an education, and not only elementary school education, but then going further, going on to high school, and actually doing higher education as well. It allows them to shoot really big, develop big goals, and either become a guide with Quetzatlrekkers, or do even bigger and doing social work and bigger projects.
It's really truly all volunteer run. We don't have any bosses, any managers, there are no salaried positions. All of us come here and we make a minimum of a 3-month commitment. And in that time, we learn to lead and guide the different treks that we offer. We have about 6 or 7, depending on what season. And then we also do everything around the office.
Everything we do here is done with the goal in mind of providing a great education for kids and a safe place for them to stay if they need it. It all is for the kids.
Quetzatlrekkers offers a number of treks, varying in length from 1 to 6 days. Their longest trek, Nabak to Todos Santos, is a 6-day, 60-kilometer hike that takes you through the Cuchumatanes Mountains, through limestone rocks and alpine forest, and 3 Mayan language zones. The trek started in Xela, the second largest city in Guatemala, where Quetzatlrekkers is headquartered. We began day 1 riding multiple chicken buses. They are used as the main form of transportation for most Guatemalans and are loud, bumpy, slightly terrifying, and strangely thrilling. We went through Quiche and into an indigenous village called Acul. Acul really makes you feel as though you've been transported away from Guatemala and into a fantastical land. The next morning, we started our day at 4 a.m. We went straight up a mountain where we conquered 87 switchbacks with only headlamps to light our way. After a few hours, we made it to the top, where we enjoyed a foggy sunrise over tasty coffee and oatmeal. We continued trekking and ended our day relatively early at a colorful hillside homestay in the Quiche village of Pahu Pais. The next morning, we began our foggy descent into a valley of frigid limestone pools. Only one of us was brave enough to get in. From the beginning of the trip, the guides told us about Terror Hill, a seemingly vertical hill that participants could race up on day 4. So we pumped each other up and mentally prepared ourselves before darting up the hill.
Are you putting Vaseline on?
Yeah, just none of it. It's a guy thing.
Tired and out of breath, we made it to the top for a group photo. The next morning, we spent the better half of the day descending through beautiful mossy forests on slippery, steep trails, where we eventually arrived at a beautiful lookout that made the difficult descent totally worthwhile. We arrived in Todos Santos, our final destination. As we ate our last meal together, it was clear what a wonderful experience everyone had.
And thank you. I enjoyed this very much.
A través de su sabiduría de él, y muchas gracias también, yo muy agradecida con personas españolas, con muchas personas extranjeras que nos han dado oportunidad a nosotros los guatemaltecos.
I want to thank the people who come and help us. And even though we don't get to say goodbye when you leave, you stay in our hearts. Thank you for giving me this opportunity this morning. I have no words to express how thankful I am for EDELAC. I owe them. Thank you so much.
Tell us how you feel.
Get them bones in the water. You shall not pass. Get them bones in the water. Get them bones. No, we're down one now. Get them bones in the water. Leave them all.